Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast. It's Shannon Arney's with us today. Welcome, Shannon.
Hi.
Hi. So I've known Shannon for several years, and you do a couple of things. You are an entrepreneur. You have a photography business, brand photography specifically, but you also do some other things in life, one of which is a mom, a full-time mom. And you also, fascinatingly enough, are a gymnastics coach. And I think you do some marketing for the gymnastics place too, don't you?
I do. That is,
yeah.
We kind of dabble in everything.
We dabble in everything. So but today let's kind of focus in on a couple of things. First, I do want to know more about why you started the photography business, because that's the entrepreneurial side of what you do. So tell me a little bit about how that came about and why you do that.
I think my story is very common. A 40-something-year-old mom who came out of college and was like, I can't get a job that satisfies all the daycare costs. And I'm not somebody who wants to sit at home. I can't sit still. I'm that person. So I'm a typical CEO brain. It's got to go. And so I have always had a hobby as photography, but my type A brain said, no, that's not a business. That's something you do for fun, but kind of forced my hand when I couldn't really get a job that was worthwhile for the money, leaving the kids all day. So I picked up my camera, started taking pictures. Event in 2017 was the first time I took money, and quickly realized that family photography was not for me. And I worked really hard to figure out, I have a master's in anthropology, worked really hard to figure out how to blend that into what I do. And that has really made me extremely happy. So I use a lot of my knowledge about culture and peoples on that side of the strategy of personal branding photography.
Yeah, that's just fascinating to me. I mean, how many brand photographers can say that they have a master's degree in that? I mean, that's just incredible. And how you can, like you said, blend in or bring in the culture and the background of the people in the brand, not just what they sell or what they do.
Yep, absolutely. And it's honestly satisfied. It's so much fun. I'll just say that. It's so much fun. It brings me so much joy. I absolutely love it.
That is so great. So looking back, you said 2017, I think you said was the first time you actually took money for the photography. So looking back, what was a big lesson that you learned kind of as you were moving through building that business?
I have learned a lot of lessons. I am super introverted. So I would say networking was one of those things that was really hard for me in the beginning, like just walking out the door and getting in the car. So I was just like terrified. And it's still, even today with all the practice I have as an introvert, like walking into that room with just full of people. Network Build Grow is different because you the faces more. It's not as intimidating. But when you do any of those other events, it's still like gives me all the butterflies, sweaty, nasty. So I've walked away with a lot more confidence. I've learned that I listen to my feel-good song on the way there. I listen to, I'm having a brain fart. Oh, why? Of course, my favorite. It's what pumps me up. But anyway, and I actually tell gymnasts that too. I'm like, listen to your favorite song on the way to your meet, or it's actually advice I give a lot of people. Speakers, tell them it'll pump you up. I want to dance with somebody. That's the song. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. And I think there's a lot of research behind music and brain waves and anxiety and all of that. So it does make a big difference if you have something that is your go-to. And then there's some people that's the opposite, right? Like they have to have complete silence to kind of get that. So, okay. So one of the lessons that you've learned is you have to leave your house, go out the door and just do it.
Yes, absolutely. You've got to just do it. it's kind of fits into that box of done is better than perfect too. Like I'm also a perfectionist, I learned that you just gotta get started, whatever it looks like. It's okay. You can revisit it and come back to it if it's not perfect, but not doing it from the beginning and waiting. Because actually I did that just with my name of my business. I didn't want to name it with my name on it. I wanted something else, and I wanted to tie it to anthropology. And I probably spent 2 years trying to come up with a name. And finally, I decided that it was a stalling tactic, and I just was like, well, it's Shannon Arney Images. We're done, and start your business. And so,
yeah, that's so funny because, messy makes money also.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just,
I think more than
sometimes more.
yes, because they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're putting in the work,
Putting in the work. I tell speakers all the time, there's other speakers out there who are not as good as you, don't have as good as message as you, but they are out there, they're speaking, they're making money, they have a business, and they're no better than you are. In fact, probably maybe some of them worse, but they're doing it. And that's the big difference.
They're walking out the door.
They're walking out the door. They're putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
So let's have a little bit more conversation. Let's dig into that introvert thing and networking specifically, because a lot of our people that we've had on the show aren't introverts. So it's easy for them to go. So one of the things you said was listen to something that pumps you up as you're headed towards the event. Can you give us some other kind of from an introvert's perspective, things to do once you arrive?
Well, not hide in the corner.
Okay.
That is even I think that's probably why I love photography so much, because I can hide behind the camera.
Yeah.
But, that's a hard thing too, is, if you are taking the time to go there, don't waste the time by, finding a table, sitting down and not moving, and that's something, I went through that. I went through learning how to navigate being in a room full of people. And then you also don't want to stick with that one person. You get comfortable, and I'm like, okay, good, I can talk to this person. But idea is, it's really, quality is always important. I will say quality before quantity always.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a caveat, is that one person is probably not enough at a networking event, and you do need to move on. And learning what's really hard too is, I think it's hard for anyone, but especially as an introvert, ending a conversation is difficult. Okay. So I think coming up with little statements to say, like, a closure would really help. Because for me, I would just stand there and talk and let the conversation keep going when I know mentally, I know I need to move on. I need to go speak to somebody else. I need to find more value through other people, but I would just stay where I was comfortable and not know how to end a conversation.
Yeah, that is tough. We talk about, in networking as a contact sport, we talk about how to get out of a conversation that's awkward. But what you're talking about is just really flat out how to get out of a conversation so you can meet somebody else. And one of the statements I like to use is, hey, Shannon, this has been a great conversation. I'd love to talk to you more, but I'm sure you came here to meet more than just me.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps them
make it about them,
move on and make it about them. Yeah. So that's good. So can you share a specific example of how networking did make a big impact on your business?
Again, there's been a lot. I'll say some quick ones. My first client came from networking. She,
great.
Yeah. By about a month afterwards, she called me and just said, let's do it. And I was like, oh my goodness, somebody said yes. So, and that's how I got, and honestly, it's, that confident boost, it allows the ball to start rolling. And that's how I got started. And I was able to start pushing through some of that done is better, perfect type stuff and get out there more. So it had a lot to do with the trajectory of my business. I happened to be a client that was perfect for me. I was definitely an ideal client. She trusted in me. So I've met most of my clients, honestly, networking. Most of my business has been word of mouth.
Okay.
So that's a huge one too. I've met partners, like people that I've partnered with over time, just either social media has been one. Let's see, what else have I done? I've actually just doing different things live on with my, a hairdresser, because you can find, as a photographer, you end up with some interesting partnerships. So, photographer, makeup artist, all that. Most of
Yeah.
those were found through networking.
Okay.
So,
That's wonderful. And those are some of those would be even like good strategic business alliances, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. As well as I'm assuming business coaches would be good strategic business alliances for you, marketing companies.
Marketing, speaking coaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all those things.
We've done some work together with some
Yeah.
clients. So wonderful. Okay. So let's get back to your business for just a
Okay.
second. So you do brand photography. What does that mean? Tell people what brand photography is.
Well, it is focusing. I do more personal brand photography because brand
Okay.
photography is focusing on the brand, so specifically the business, but through personal brand photography, I like to dive in way more and highlight the individual, especially in this where we are in our market. People want to know who's behind all of it, whether you want them to or not. So I help people make a decision about what that looks like, because you don't have to put yourself all the way out there as a personal brand. So what we are able to do is really define what that looks like, draw boundaries for yourself. As an introvert, I'm somebody who doesn't like to put a lot of things on social media or on the website about, it's just not in my character. So figuring out what kind of conversations you want to have, that will blend into your branding as well. It's not, I think, and a lot of people don't realize that, is like you have to make conscious decisions about what you're comfortable with first, and then apply that to your brand or your personal brand. And so I help people do that. And then, so much goes into branding, your websites, and then just the verbiage you're using, and everything is highlighted by your imagery as well. So then that's where the pictures come in to help support whatever we've decided throughout the brand, So
yeah, because you can look at a picture and you can instantly tell if they're fun loving or if they're more serious, or if they're more of a wisdom and sage, or kind of just by looking at a picture.
And I can tell you, that's how I've picked all of my doctors, looking at their pictures online, and it's been successful. So there is a lot that comes out of a picture.
That's okay. Yeah, you're a mom. Tell us a little bit about that. So you have how many children now?
4.
You had to think about it.
Well, I thought about, am I going to say too many or 4? Do I bring humor, or will people be like, oh my gosh, why would she say that? No, I have 4 kids, and it's been an absolute blessing. It's the best experience I've ever had. I would never have said, 20 years ago, will I be a mom of 4? Never would have said that. So
never would have said that. And they age from like just over 1 to how old's your oldest? 12. So 1 to 12. So that's a big age range as well.
It is a big age range.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. So how do you keep on all the toes, right? Like, so how are you a mom and you work for the gymnastics, you're a gymnastics coach for competitive gymnastics, and do some of their marketing and do your business? What does that look like from the standpoint of like compartmentalizing different things?
It is hard. It is, I couldn't do it without my partner. He is my right hand. I honestly just couldn't. He does more of the getting the kids where they need to be at night, because I do coaching. I end up coaching at night 3 days a week. So honestly, that's the hugest part, is you need a support network. And I happen to have a really amazing one that lives with me. So so he's the start, but I also lose some sleep sometimes. So there's that. You have to figure out the balance. But just carving out times too, where I have certain days a week that I do certain things, or, even for, because I do some marketing for Everest Gymnastics is the name of it, but I do some marketing for them. So there's certain days a week I do that. Certain days a week I work on my business. So making a plan, which is also very hard to stick to, especially with a 1-year-old running around. So prioritizing your top 3 is always, because you might not get to 4 and 5 in that day. But
I can remember when you would come to networking events, 5, 6, 7, 8 9 months pregnant. And then now when we're on Zoom networking calls, sometimes you have a little helper.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. I mean, I think people in the world today realize that a lot of people do work from home, and to have a baby or a toddler sitting on your lap during a networking call is, some people say it's unprofessional. I don't. I say it's real life.
And it took me a while to get there. I was raised, very traditional, like you
Yeah.
do things a certain way. And it did not include a baby sitting on my lap, but it also didn't include Zoom. We didn't grow up with these
Mhm.
kinds of things. So I think learning to navigate it and what works for you is really important. And honestly, I couldn't do it otherwise. If the
Yeah.
baby, for me, it was something I had to get comfortable with, because I felt like, are people judging me? Are people thinking, oh my gosh, why don't you have a babysitter? Things like that. So it
I
was
would say
hard at
that
first.
those people are not your client.
Exactly.
I
No.
mean, yeah, if they're offended by that, then they're probably not going to be a good client for you anyway. So who cares?
Right.
So what are the metrics? Like, I know that you do some networking. I know you come to Network Build Grow. Pre 1-year-old, I think you went to some other groups as
Yeah.
well. What are some of the kind of metrics that you look for? I mean, obviously you can't go to an event one time and say, oh, that's good or that's not, unless it's just a really bad fit. But what are some of those metrics that you kind of evaluate a group through?
I think comfort is, you walk
Mhm.
in and I don't want to use the word aura, because I don't but you can feel a room.
Mhm. It's
And
a gut
so,
feeling.
yeah, a gut feeling, whatever that is. And so I think that's a huge part of it. Then also, quick and dirty networking events, I learned, are not for me. It's just, they are, and that's actually, my first client did come from just like, hey, just a night like at a bar type one. Can't think of
Mhm.
the name of it right now. More mom brain, I'm sure. But so they have value, but they are hard for me. So
Yeah.
I like to develop intimate relationships and actually get to know who I'm talking to. And
Mhm.
so I like to go to groups like Network Build Grow, where you do get to see some of the familiar faces. You get to see new ones too, but it's just a better blend. So that's really
Mhm.
important to me.
Yeah.
I like conversational, like people that are easy to talk to, which is, I'm the awkward one, so it helps me out. Also, something I love about Network Build Grow, and I tell people about it all the time, is it's not your typical networking event. You will be given ways to try to communicate. So
Yeah.
there's the recognition that this is hard. This is not always somebody's comfort zone, and so there are tools like questions that everybody answers that just really helps with that. And so, of course, I'm going to navigate towards groups that do that.
Yeah. And I think if people are introverts or they're a little nervous or they're new to networking, it provides, when there's a question of the day, it helps them
Absolutely.
have a conversation without having to try
Yeah.
to think of something to converse about.
Just an icebreaker. It's simple.
Mhm.
It's not like
Yeah.
we're reinventing the wheel or anything, but
Right.
it's just really useful and it works. I
Yeah.
also really love groups that give back in some way.
Mhm.
So that's important to me too. And a lot of them do. But luckily I just got lucky and found Network Build Grow. And so, but I
We
felt
feel,
like I felt that way in the beginning. I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like a hidden gem, but it was because it was new.
yeah.
Because we were in COVID.
Yeah. We were in COVID. We were in
We were
COVID
in
when you found
COVID.
us. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we think you are a hidden gem as well. So we love having you
Aw.
having you part of the group. So, okay. Now, the first thing that you said today was that your first client came from a networking event that you went to. And then you said a month later, she actually hired you. So
Mhm.
let's talk about that. How do you stay in touch with people? How do you connect with people after the event before they, you know, do anything with you?
I always, first thing I do is find them on social media. I literally look at every platform to see if they're on there and find them all. I go and then I do that first. Like, there are orders, and then I go and email them. So I contact them that way. Then I go, if they have LinkedIn, I go back to LinkedIn and I message them on LinkedIn to let them know I've sent them an email.
Mhm.
Actually, typically people will read their LinkedIn first because it's easy, it's quick. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's just the quick and dirty, like first step that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it in that order every time.
I love that you have an order.
I do.
You have an order.
Of course I
Check,
do.
check, 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 check.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is.
And then what? So then now maybe a week goes by and maybe you have heard from them or you haven't heard from them. But what's your process to stay top of mind?
Typically, I've gotten really lucky and people do follow up. So I don't get ignored at all. Because that, again, as an introvert, it's hard to pester people. I'm like, oh, I don't want to. But I email again. And I always try to use the back of the card and write down something about the person that I can ask about in the email. So it's not, I do have a template I use, but I put in something in that template that's personal. So I usually pull that back into a second email if I, hope your vacation went well, or I hope your child is feeling better if they were sick, something like that. So I try to pull that back in and really just only have that personal touch in the second email, because it's not, I feel like they are more likely to respond if it's just how you doing? Are you?
Yeah. My least favorite words are, I'm just circling back.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand that language. So yeah. So absolutely having something personal. Sometimes I'll send them an article I read. Hey, I saw this article, thought of you.
Great idea.
Some things like that. How do you keep track of it?
Not well.
It's all honesty here today. Not well.
Luckily, Google has that thing where you can set up and be like, it's nudge or something, and then
nudge
it'll tell
and
you.
snooze.
So I don't track. I'm bad. I'll just be honest. This will be one of my places. Follow up is actually one of my hardest things. I have to do it as soon as I get home that day or the next day, or it's not going to get done. So, and then you're like, well, why did I even go to the networking event? Because it's
right
if you don't follow up.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people go to networking events and don't follow up. And the one that kills me is people that don't follow up with your follow-up. So like you feel like you made a good connection, you follow up with them, they don't write back. You're like, are you kidding me?
Hello.
Like, why were you there? Right.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to me. So
like,
that's
am I in your spam folder? Where are we?
Yeah. What are we doing here? And so that's interesting. If you network for your business, you already know follow-up is everything when it comes to growing relationships and driving success. But here's the thing. Most of us want to follow up well. We just get stuck. Staying consistent, keeping it personal, making it stand out, it's hard. That's why I use NetEffect.io. It makes follow-up simple, cuts through all the noise, and helps me stay on top of every relationship without dropping the ball. I never miss a follow-up, and honestly, my network wouldn't be the same without it. So check it out, NetEffect.io. And right now, you can use promo code NBG50 for 50% off of your first month. NetEffect.io, your secret weapon to unforgettable follow-up. So tell me, what is one of the core driving factors for integrating networking into your marketing strategy?
People.
People.
One of the things that's hardest for me is working alone. I'm such a, I don't.
You're an introvert, but you like community.
Well, I need a lot of reassurance in life. Like I need, like my poor best friend is kind of my assistant. She's an unpaid assistant. She's a great assistant though, but I have to run every idea by her. So that's what makes it really difficult for me to work alone, is I like to bounce ideas off of people and hear feedback and things like that. So it's hard. And so that I like getting out of the house. I like being, this is not what networking is about, but in nature, in the sun, those type of things. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really a huge part of being a healthy human, is getting outside of the house. Now, even if it's just going to a networking event, I think it's really, we get stuck almost from COVID, where we've learned to just stay inside. And a lot of people will just sit at the desk. And just think it's super unhealthy for us. Like, we need to be around a community. We need to be around people to be healthy humans. It's just biologically how we were made, whether I'm an introvert or not. So that's a huge part of it, is I need the structure. I need to get out of the house. It's healthier for me, even though it's hard. But also, I love building relationships that support my business and other people's businesses. So it's a huge part of it. And it makes you not feel alone, and you're part of a bigger group, all going through the same things. So.
And straight out of the anthropologist's mouth right there, right? That community and other people makes us healthier humans.
It does.
So we're going to tag that, right? We're gonna be like, okay, so networking is good for your health.
It is.
That's going to be our new tagline. Networking.
Why have we never thought of that before?
I don't know, but we should definitely incorporate that. Networking is good for your health. I love that you brought that into the conversation, because I believe that. I mean, I believe that.
100%.
Yeah, having people to talk to, bounce ideas off of, and just that community is a big, big part of, like you said, being a healthy human. So one last question, and then I will let you get back to mom duty. Baby duty. Yeah, well, not baby anymore, because he's 1 year old. So, I know.
He's a baby.
Yes.
Forever.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you do follow up with people, I know a lot of people do the personal thing, and they're talking personally. They've building a relationship from a almost like social friend sort of side. How do you kind of bring the conversation back to not asking for a client or a referral or asking them if they want your services, but how do you make sure that does stay a part of the conversation from both sides?
I actually always include something about networking. It's easier when I'm not at a network, build, grow thing networking, because that's what I will put in there. Hey, have you heard of this group? I think you'd really love them. So I use that too, and I'll link them, and I'll send link them to other people that they might be interested in within the group. So even if I meet people at Network Build Grow, I'll do that for other communities that we have in the area. And then I follow, because then that puts us more into that business mode. And then I follow up that with just about what I do and connections, and how I can serve them. So how I can benefit their business. And usually that's how I leave it. I don't really ask for anything in our initial conversation. I'm just letting them know what I can do for them and how I could serve them, how I could bring value to their customers or them. And maybe that's wrong, but I don't ask for anything at that time.
No, I think that one of the great things that you just said is you open up your network to them, which reciprocation kind of says that then they will open up their connections to you.
Yeah.
And hopefully. So you're kind of, hopefully it's kind of how you're doing it. Eventually you might do kind of more of a direct ask, but just that initial opening up, I think, is a really good strategy.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So that is it for our conversation today. I'm so excited to just watch your family grow. That has been a joy, and excited to have you get back involved with in-person events now that maybe the baby's getting a little bit older and it's a little easier to maneuver some things. But thanks a lot for being with us today.
Thank you for having me on. It was fun. I haven't seen your face in a while, so I loved it.
I know, it was very fun. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.